Good afternoon, Reds. Welcome back to Real Reds Talk, an authentic football fan channel made in Manchester. This is Sunday Social. Preseason has officially finished, but ladies and gentlemen, there is still work to be done. The topics on your screen. Baleba personal terms agreed according to the number one source on this, who has been reporting on this for quite a while, and that is Indy Kalila. Kalila? I don't know how you say it. Rasmus Hojlund to AC Milan is heating up, but will he make the move? He's determined to fight for his place. He's probably going to get about 5 minutes this season, so I would think different, but we'll discuss that. We're going to have a conversation about Bruno Fernandes' long-term... I'm not going to say problem. I shouldn't have used the word problem on the graphic, but just...
Long-term future.
Yeah, long-term future, where he's going to play the majority of his minutes and where you think he's better. And also, I want to speak about the game because I wasn't on the review yesterday. I want to kind of make a few points towards the end of the show, but mainly it'll be the Baleba story that we're discussing, and I'll just read it out for you, Shreyas, straight off the bat. Carlos Baleba has made his intentions clear. He's verbally asked Brighton to let him move to Manchester United, and it gets even more interesting because Baleba's agent has given the thumbs up on the personal terms offer if Brighton agrees to let him go this summer. Brighton at this moment have not nudged from their £100 million valuation on the player. Like I said, the agent and player pushing for a move, but surely, Shreyas, Man United cannot afford a £100 million transfer fee. Even if they do sell Garnacho, let's say, for example, and Rasmus Hojlund goes out on loan, you still have a situation there where Baleba's got, I think, 3 years left on his deal.
Yeah.
So Brighton aren't in a position where they absolutely need to sell. They're not desperate to sell. And there will be a lot more clubs next season, you would think, probably interested in him, right? So how do United manage the situation?
The thing is, I started to think nobody really knows the complete picture about United's finances. Because
no one.
How have we spent 76 on Sesko, 62 on Cunha, 71 on Mbumo when it was being said that we only have a budget of 25 mil?
Mm-hmm.
So if you factor in the Garnacho deal, I would say on the lower end, if we get 40 mil of Garnacho, gives us a room, I think, of around 19 mil in the transfer window.
Mm-hmm.
And if we are able to get even one of other outgoings, whether it's a Sancho deal, whether it's a Anthony deal, or a Højlund loan deal perhaps as well, I think it frees up at least a chunk of 5 to 10 mil. If you factor in the wages and everything, especially for Sancho, if you get those wages off, it's going to clear up a lot of space for you. And when you look into Baleba, the thing is, what did excite me was that the player himself is trying to push for a move as well, that he wants Manchester United to happen this window itself. And when you see players trying to push moves, it gives clubs like Manchester United a greater incentive to go for these players. And if you look at our trend or look at our pattern throughout this transfer window, we've only moved for players once we know that they're ready to come to us. It's not a situation where we've agreed terms with the parent club, but the player isn't really willing to come to us. So we have a good green signal from Baleba. And if anyone saw yesterday's game, he is genuinely needed. Like in this team, you need someone like a Baleba. And the moment, someone of that quality actually comes into this team, you can see this Amorim side really clicking. Like the one game against Bournemouth where it clicked, this team looked unplayable at times. But you need consistency. And against Fiorentina, you saw that, against a team with relatively good quality, you need to be consistent throughout the 90 that you can keep it clicking. You cannot allow them spells of 15 to 20 minutes every single half to grow back into the game. So I think a transfer like Baleba is very much important. And by the looks of it, I think Ineos might, just pull it off.
It's interesting, isn't it? Because all the stuff you was hearing before from very credible journalists, by the way, coming out of The Athletic, was all like, no, United need to sell to buy. The usual stuff that you kind of hear. There's
Every
no
single year we hear it.
Because they said, you think, right, had we had won the Europa League, how much would we have spent then?
Exactly.
Do you know what I'm saying? But I think you make a great point about the players as well, which I wanted to pick you up on, about them making sure United is their only destination and their priority, and agreeing personal terms with that and getting everything locked off, signed off there, so that it's just completely done, to then you saw it with Leipzig, like you said with Sesko. Even though Newcastle offered more, they offered more wages, etc. He was still like, no, Sesko absolutely adamant that he wants to move to Manchester United. And Bumo waited 6 weeks, adamant to move to Manchester United. Cunha, the only club that I want. I know there's a release clause there, but United are the one I really, really want to play for. So there seems to be like these things that they're ticking off at every single signing. And It's nice to know the fact that Baleba, one, wants to join Man United, is open to it, and his agent and the personal terms will not be a problem. I mean, he's on about 12 grand a week anyway, so it's not like it's going to be a big wage
Even
bump.
if you offer him double the wages, 24k.
Exactly. United, honestly, could quadruple his wages, and it would still be, for a player of his calibre, would still be okay. Do you know what I mean? Like, you're talking fucking 50-odd thousand pound a week. Like, academy players at United fucking get that. Or sorry, youthful players.
Collier is on more wages.
Yeah. Like, what's Garnacho on at the minute? Like 60k, 70k, I think.
70,
do you know what I mean? So it's not a problem for it. I'm not encouraging, just chucking fucking money at players. But I don't know. I think this dilemma now, it's tough for United, because if they come out now and they say we have absolutely got the money for it, maybe we need to sell 1 or 2 players or whatever, and we can do it. But can they do it for 100 million? Because then that would take the window up to 270 million pounds you're talking about without Champions League football, which makes me think then, Shreyas, is that going on this credit facility? In which case, have we not been, kind of round this path before,
We have been around this path before, but the one thing is, whenever we've had these sort of, transfer sprees, the last time we had it, it didn't work out.
Yeah.
The biggest problem was it didn't work out, because I remember we got Varane in, we got Sancho in, we got Ronaldo in, and that was a massive window for us, because these guys didn't come in cheap. We paid transfer fees, but on top of that, their wages were astronomically high.
Mm-hmm.
So now, when you look at these players, their wages aren't astronomically high, but at the same time, you can see them clicking and working. Mbeumo looked really bright. Cunha looks extremely promising. And all the younger players in these departments as well, they look quite promising. And I think in the meantime, if we are able to facilitate even a few outgoings, it's really going to help us, because I think as time proceeds, you're going to see more faces actually depart from this team. I mean, in fairness, Rashford has gone, and Rashford will definitely be gone next season end. Sancho will be gone. Antony will be gone. That's 3 attackers. It's Garnacho. That's 4 attackers itself. 4 players, are going to be leaving within the space of 1.5 years from now. So you've got players leaving, and if you take a net cost of just 20 mil for 4 players, it's going to factor into 80 mil.
Yeah,
that's not a bad, conversion rate if you look at it just from a financial standpoint, not from the factor that these players are worth more, but the fact that you're at least getting something for these guys. Because one of the biggest problems at United for quite some time has been that players run out their contract and move on a free when they are on really high wages at the same time. So it reflects very poorly on the on PSR. I think that's where Højlund is going to be very key for us, because if he goes out on loan, he has it. I think he will be quite decent for a club like AC Milan.
Yeah, for sure.
And they've started to play a strike partnership. Allegri is their manager, so again, quite pragmatic. He's going to be paired up with Leao, who is quite a big talent. He's got the pace. So in a strike partnership, he works well. I think he goes there. He has a decent outing. If he is able to, drive up his price to like a 30-35 mil, it won't look as bad as it does right now.
Yeah. In terms of finances, I think the intricate details are interesting because, right, so you look at it just as like an overall basis. At the start of the summer, really, I think we made around £30 million in kind of little clauses that we had in contracts. So sell-on clauses, percentages, Alvaro, Anthony Alongo, there was a few other things as well which we made money from. Not only just that, the deals that we did with Cunha and Mbeumo, there was Cunha's deal was done before the financial year.
Yeah.
So that technically went on last year's.
It's going to factor into last year's books.
It's going to factor into last year's. That's one of the things. The other things is that's done in installments, like Klarna, let's say, just for an easier example. And Bumo's done in installments. That's like £16 million a year for 4 years or whatever. So there is space. There is wiggle room there to do it. I'm just curious. I think Garnacho will be a massive one because that is just pure profit in terms of PSR regulations, which is good. So it's doable. You think if they sell Garnacho and Højlund goes and we get the fee for him, that is a space there it opens up. You take your spending back down as a net profit, and then you buy you go and buy Baleba for whatever that cost you, and it doesn't look as bad. I'm just really surprised that they've been able to do this without Champions League football. Every journalist in the know was like, there's no chance they've got the skin, they've not got any money, it's going to struggle to get a couple of attackers, let alone fucking Sesko, Mbumo, Cunha, and Baleba. Like, that's 270 million quid we're talking about. Like, it's crazy. Before we get back into it, let me just read out some comments because there's quite a few. T2 saying, afternoon, lads. I don't think we'll get a free run at Baleba again, now or never.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good point. Also worth remembering that clubs think about transfers differently. At 100 million, it's not that steep. He'd probably sign another deal after 2 years so you can divide the remaining cost for another 5 years. Shiva, I'm saying, irrespective of the number of players we sign, we are fighting for 5th at max. Players take time to gel in, and maybe next year top 4 is plausible. People need to be realistic. I do agree with that, to be honest with you. And I think that kind of falls in with the game as well, doesn't it? For what you've seen in the last couple of games of pre-season, which towards the end of the show we'll talk about, so I'll save it for that.
Yeah.
UK Darren saying 13% must be rival fans. Yeah, we put a poll up at the start of the show saying what's the max we should pay for Carlos Baleba, which had 55 votes. 45% have said 80 million. 29% have said 90 million. 16% have said 100 million. And 9% have said 110 million. How far would you go on that deal personally, Shreyas?
I think United can smartly work it around with an add-ons to that could, multiply it to 100. Like if it is like a 95 plus 5 deal, I think that could happen. The thing is, he's not going to be going for less than 90. Brighton know how to smell, they know how to sell nicely. It's a trend. They buy cheap and they sell for quite a price. And with the way they worked around the Caicedo deal, I just know that they're going to mint at least upwards of 85 mil from Baleba itself. I think if you are at least able to get close to the 100 million mark, I think that's where it can be a workable deal for Brighton.
Yeah, I think add-ons will be crucial in this, to be honest with you, because they'll offer, say, I don't know. I think United's first offer, because we've seen it with Mbumo and a few of the others, might be a lot lower than, it might be 80 million, let's say, with add-ons. Brighton will then reject that. Then they'll go like, okay, 85 plus 10 million in add-ons. If they reject that, I just can't see United going above £100 million. I mean, Brighton bought him from Lille for fucking 23 million. £23 million, and they're making that much profit on him. Same thing with Caicedo. They bought Caicedo for about 5 million quid. And got a profit of £110 million on that. Like the way they operate as a club, Brighton, you just have to take your hat off to them and just say Tony Bloom, the data analysis, the AI research that they do on players and all that kind of stuff. Like, it just seems to be working a treat for them. They are consistently picking up gems on a regular, year in, year out. And he's already talked about the next kind of Baleba replacement who's out on loan at the minute doing his stuff. So, yeah, you have to commend Brighton, to be fair. And I don't think... The reason why I don't think this deal happens is because I don't think they are going to sell for £100 million. For less than 100 million. I don't think United are going to pay more than 100 million. So, in that case, if they need to pivot, don't know who it's going to be. Really don't. But he is the perfect option, isn't he, Shreyas? You look at everything he offers. Right now, on the market, I know we talk about Adam Wharton, but I don't think Adam Wharton's as athletic or combative as a Carlos Baleba. I think he's more positionally, he's quite cute and intelligent, and on the ball he's really, really good. But I don't think he's as athletic or powerful as Baleba, in my opinion. I don't know what you think.
I think Adam Wharton is extremely talented, extremely good. But like you mentioned, Baleba is just an all-round midfielder. Like, honestly, Baleba is very much close to Valverde in this sense. That, he knows how to run the course of the pitch, very good box to box, very good defensively, and has an engine and pressing system for the entire 90. Adam Wharton knows how to make line breaking passes, intricate passes, but I'm not sure that, he'd be good enough to sustain himself for, in a position where it's all pressure for the entire 90 minutes. That's an area where I have an issue with, because that's the same trouble we have with Ugarte. Putting fires out, clearing the ball out and just spreading the ball out of, danger is something Ugarte is really good at. Breaking line passes and, being consistent for the entire 90 is something where he even struggles at. I think if you move on to like a player like a Pablo Barrios, maybe, he's much closer to a Baleba. So I'm sure Ineos definitely have their targets, that Baleba is probably their first priority. Then they've got Wharton. Maybe there are 2 to 3 other midfielders who they are looking at. But the good thing for me about all this is that at least we're seeing United being quite aggressive in the midfield, because earlier on it just felt like it's Ederson or no one. So now at least we're seeing figures who even we are quite excited about that. If they come in, they'll definitely help us a bit out, which when it comes to leaving spaces in behind, when it comes to organizing that midfield and maintaining that sort of compact system, Baleba checks off that box. So
Yeah.
I just really think that Baleba will happen this window itself.
Yeah, there seems to be an optimism, don't there, around the deal. A lot of people saying that, which I don't know if I can jump on it. I don't know if I can get myself excited about it because I don't know how they're going to work it out.
The thing is, I had the same feeling. I had the same feeling when we were linked with Sesko, that how are we actually going to pull out like around 80-85 mil for a player like this who's obviously rated quite highly, and if he comes there, I know he'll do good. But it happened with Sesko within days. I think if United are genuinely in for Baleba, and if they can match the price, I think it will happen this window itself.
It's interesting. We mentioned Wharton then. Ideally, you'd want both of them, wouldn't you, in the middle of the park? If you really want to transform that midfield, you'd put both of them in there. It kind of leads me to, I'm going to ask you a tough question, Shreyas.
Yeah.
So, something that was a theme in the WhatsApp chat, and everyone else get involved in this, by the way, as well, because I genuinely want to get opinions on this, because it's a tough question. There seems to be a situation with Bruno Fernandes at the minute where you look at the positions on the pitch, he's clearly better for me in an attacking position. His natural instinct is to be a creative, on the ball, quick thinker, just that playmaking, central attacking midfielder, getting shots off, just working hard. That is his game. I don't really he can do that side of it, the kind of deep line playing midfield. He can be that guy, but off the ball, physically as well. He's not strong enough. He's not a great tackler. He's not a great ball carrier necessarily. So it seems like we're imbalanced. And with Ineos spending £130 million on 2 attacking 10s, when that deal originally came in from Saudi Arabia for £100 million, and you look at Carlos Baleba's price tag, or let's say we get Baleba, and it could have been scoped to get Wharton on top of that as well. When you look at that, what do you think?
I still wouldn't have taken that offer. Reason being, I think Bruno still adds a lot more to this team, because I know even if he plays like a deep line playmaker, he's going to give us 10 or 12 goals in the Prem itself as a given. And another factor about it is, I think, like you mentioned, if Baleba happens, I think Baleba and Bruno are the perfect pairing, because you've got some in yesterday's game as well. What I noticed from Bruno was he used to take the ball off the back three and he used to just switch it out wide to Ahmad or Mbumo, or at times to Dorgu. And he did it a lot of times. The thing is, if he's got the right player who, when he's switching the ball out, he knows he has to bomb on. The thing with Casemiro was he hasn't really got the legs to be as rapid. And in so many occasions when we switched out the ball, his run was so late that the space that was left in behind was accumulated by Fiorentina's defense. And it was in numerous cases off the ball as well. I could see Bruno actually, pressing. He's trying to limit out the space. Mount used to come up from ahead. He used to aggress as well, but Casemiro is just not agile enough. Like on the ball, I still really don't think that he's lost it. I think passing wise, he's incredible. He's still got the vision, but he's not got the legs. And when you look at it off the ball, I think Mount was a monster. I think Bruno covered a lot of ground as well. But you need Casemiro as well. You need those double pivots to be on the same page when you're pressing, because if you don't, you're going to get, a lot of counterattacks, a lot of spaces in behind, which we saw again yesterday. For a good chunk, I would say at least of, 35 to 40 minutes, it happened. And Fiorentina did trouble us during that time. And even moving forward, you need those 2 pivots to actually bomb on. I saw Bruno making a lot of runs into the box, but Casemiro is way too controlled for that. And what happens is, like, as the game goes on, the frustration builds up, and then you can see Casemiro being wild again, making 2 tackles, 3 tackles, those aggressive tackles. So it's going to happen. And I think when Mino came on, just because he's got more pace than Casemiro, it looked a lot more controlled.
Yeah, I get that. But even he's still not up to it, really. Amarin always talks about recovery runs and positional discipline and all that kind of stuff. Like, long term, I think these questions are on a few players. Like, maybe he will end up growing into that role as one of the 8s.
But that's a big concern as well for me, because with Bruno, at least I know okay, these guys are going to go into AFCON. Bruno is going to be extremely important for us then to play in the none of the tens. So Bruno is still going to get made. Even as a deep lying maker, I know that Amorim is going to make big use of Bruno this year. Menu, the problem is if Baleba happens, Menu is not getting into those double pivots. It's going to be Baleba and Bruno. And Menu is not, he doesn't have that sort of an instinct to work as that inside 10. I just don't think he has it yet.
No, Menu doesn't. He's one of them, like, you can receive it with back to goal. I always think about the Wolves goal that he scored.
Even the Liverpool one.
It was him and Forson won it kind of like triangles, and then he drives through players. I think that's his best position on the pitch when he's a left-sided midfielder, like a left-sided
in the 4-3-3.
for example. Yeah, in the 4-3-3, it works a lot better. When you're in those kind of intricate, it's weird hybrid position that you take up in there. It's kind of demands a lot more with kind of driving with the ball as well. And he can skip past players and he can do certain things, but he's not, like you said, he doesn't have that attacking instinct in the final third. He's not a killer naturally, whereas Mbeumo clearly is, and Cunha clearly is.
Completely is, yeah.
So I don't know. I just think if that offer came in now, again, I would consider it. And I love Bruno Fernandes. He's the captain. There's obviously that emotion attached to him and everything he's done for the past 4 years. But for me, having Bruno in this team at the minute seems imbalanced. It seems really imbalanced.
The thing is, right now with the players you've got, it's imbalanced. You need a Baleba for a Bruno to work. Or probably even a Watt.
Shreyas. I still don't know if it'll work then with Bruno and Baleba. I don't know why. I hope it does, but I look at like teams in the midfield, the balance that they've got. We play Arsenal on Sunday.
Yeah.
Like Ødegaard, Rice, and Zubimendi is a perfect blend. Of midfielders. Baleba and Bruno as together, like, because you're still a little bit outnumbered in the middle, depending on how you're setting up structurally. Maybe his centre-back's pushing up or whatever.
It's going to be outnumbered. I think we just need to make a peace with the fact that we will be outnumbered in there.
I don't know. I don't know. I prefer Bruno Fernandes higher up. I watched that game in pre-season.
That's his best slot. I think it was which game he played with Cunha, Bruno, and I think it was Højlund up top in the pre-season. And I think it was Bournemouth.
Yeah, I think it was on the right hand side. He just seemed to fit it better. But then it's like, have we done a situation where? Do you remember under Ten Hag we bought Mount, and it was kind of like, well, we didn't need that position. We needed to actually buy a midfielder. Buying 2 10s, do you not feel like again we shouldn't have bought 2 10s? We should have bought and then Mbeumo. Like, and again, I feel weird saying that because I really like Cunha, and I think Cunha's such an important player. But then
the moment you actually pick even one of these guys out, you just think, okay, who's gonna do this then? Like, even now, if Bruno gets out, I just have this thing, okay, Mount picks up an injury. This happens and that happens. Again, you're relying on Bruno for the goals. Again, you're relying on Bruno for the creativity. I think right now, if it happened that, you could get Wharton and Baleba both in this window, that's when I would be open to the idea that Bruno might leave. But if you're getting only one, I don't think that you can lose Bruno because we still got a massive problem when it comes to scoring goals. And I think at least once you can confidently say that, even if we don't have this player, United can score upwards of 60-65 goals. That's when I'll say, okay, then you're okay to lose this player. Right now, I want the biggest thing I want from United this year is at least get a good amount of goals in, because last year 44, before the 2 seasons before it as well, during Ten Hag, only 58 goals we've scored. That's not enough.
Yeah. Right, let's get into the comments section. David Montpass has been put on the subs bench because he's an absolute idiot. I'm not going to read out the things that he put in there, but people have already kind of acknowledged it. So, yeah, you are on the bench for 30 minutes, pal. You know what? He's probably not even a United fan. He's probably a Newcastle fan who's a little bit salty still over because they can't sign players. So, it's fine. Let him have his Sunday. It's absolutely cool. My Damned United says, think Ineos must be very, very confident of getting Baleba to allow this to come out as they have and almost overshadow the Sesko buzz. They risk ending a fantastic window on a slight downer otherwise. I think that's a really good point. Ross Turner saying, look at what we've done so far in the transfer market. We've had fuck all money to completely upgrade our front line. At this stage, why would anyone be surprised if we signed Baleba? It's a good point, yep. I agree with Shreyas. I think Baleba and Bruno as the midfield too, once Amarin's system is truly established, will be ideal. Irfan saying Liverpool, Arsenal, Man City, Chelsea all have young midfield. Only Man United have Bruno and Casemiro 33 and 30. Again, a lot of people making good points in the chat. I'll take that. Baleba is a hybrid like Kante. He can do the job of 2 midfielders. And Big Daddy 44 saying Man United spending his money this summer because next summer no spending. Can you imagine? You're just taking all the money to get the players that you want now, and then next summer you just get like a few loan signings. Do what Liverpool did basically, and just not. I will think it'd be interesting if we spend, let's say we spend 250 million now this summer, and then we don't get Champions League football or even European football.
Then Bruno needs to be sold. If we don't get Euro.
If that offer comes back in from Saudi, you best believe that they're going to fucking accept that.
The thing is that Saudi offer for Bruno comes in it's been coming for 2 years now.
Yeah.
So if you don't make it into Europe, you need to understand that you have to let players go. And Bruno is top of the list. Casemiro is on top of the list still. Both these guys.
Yeah. Right, let's move on. Someone who isn't on the list is Rasmus Hojlund. I mean, to start games, because he's just not getting any minutes at the moment. And it's been a couple of updates on this. So, AC Milan are interested in a move for Rasmus Hojlund, with Manchester United willing to sanction a loan exit for the striker with a substantial fee if they cannot secure an acceptable price. Milan have proposed a £4 million loan fee for Hojlund with an optional £39 million buy clause if he performs well, which we seem to think he will. And he's been directly told he'll need to leave United to gain minutes this season and to consider his options. But the thing is with this, you can't force a player out, can you? You know, the guy's got a contract. So if he just turns around and says, I don't care what you say, I don't care if Milan want me, I want to stay and fight for my position, which, you know, you could say is commendable. You want players to be fighters. You'd rather them turn around and say, I just want the most money or anything like that. But yeah, in this scenario, what would you do?
Tricky, I think it's a tricky situation. The reason being, his contract is not running out anytime soon. I think he's signed till 2027 or 28. So, and I think plus an option of an year to extend. So that's a hefty contract that he's got when you look at the timeline. And I think the offer that is being presented by AC Milan right now is probably one of the best for United, because you're getting an upfront fee of 4 million. So that's at least some money that you're getting in, and a 39 million clause for Rasmus Højlund right now doesn't sound bad at all. Honestly, it doesn't, because if he does perform, I think he will perform well.
He will.
I think,
Definitely.
He's got a good partnership there, and I think the midfield as well that, you know, AC Milan have got right now. It's good for a player like Højlund to actually work with. You know, so the signs look good. The whole thing is, will Højlund accept it or not?
That's what I mean. I don't think he will. I think everything you've heard consistently is he wants to fight for his position. Even if he's being told, like, you're going to get limited minutes, especially with us not having European football. Yeah. You know, you're going to be a sub, basically, as a striker. And he probably still thinks in his head, listen, I don't care. He probably wanted to be a sub at the start anyway when he first came in. But he didn't want to be, like, a priority number 9 for United in the season that we've just had. He probably wanted to be, you know, learning from an older player and pushing into that role. But I don't think it's the worst thing in the world, having competition in that place, in that sense, if he does stay, just to keep Sesko on his heels maybe a little bit. How much he'll stay on his heels with Højlund behind him, I don't know. But
he's still got Xerxes. That's the biggest issue.
He's not an out-and-out striker, though, is he? Xerxes,
but that's the only position now that he'll play in. He's not going to play in the 10 anymore.
Potentially. I don't know. I can still see a few games where Cunha might... But then you got Mount, haven't you, who could play
exactly,
there as
well,
that's
the thing. Like, you got Cunha, Mount, Mbeumo, Bruno.
And Mount, by the way... Mount, I'll save myself. for when we talk about the game. But you're right. Yeah, it's going to be tricky. Yeezy Con saying Bruno's still a vital player in this team. I think if we manage to get Baleba, it'll be help more. But I think it'll matter of certain players that try to win the ball back if we get overrun. Højlund didn't have Mbeumo and Cunha around him. I think he's earned another season, especially with having a backup striker. But we need a midfielder, and he's an easy sacrifice to get Baleba. That's a hell of a fight, Rasmus. Not one I think you're mentally capable of at United at this time, son. If Højlund goes, we need a striker on loan. That's from UK Darren Fan, and Pat May saying Baleba and Bruno will work well. All right, let's just talk about the game, because it gave me the perfect segue anyway, Shreyas. There was a couple of notes that I made from it. I don't know if you covered them with Sam or not, because I've not had a chance to watch the show back yet. But you can just go into the conversation with me, and I'll just see what you think. The first thing I picked out from it, straight from the bat, which won't surprise you at all, is Mason Mount is pushing for a starting place in that team. 100%.
I think that's what I texted in the chat in the morning as well, that I think he's actually going to start in that Arsenal game. I can see him starting.
Yeah, I felt like even him being in that, I don't know what position you want to call it, striker, false nine, call it whatever you want, linked play, was really, really good in the press. I think Mbeumo and Cunha together, like, just looked more fit there as well. He was in, like, the kind of the natural positions. And all pre-season, he's looked really, really good. And I'm just going to... I get that he's been injured since we signed him. I get people's question marks. I don't know. I've always stood by the fact he's a very good player. A very, very good player. And now you're starting to see more and more and more. He's becoming one of the better... I'm not saying the best player in the team, obviously not. But he's... In terms of top performance consistently in the team, he's up there in that mix, I would say. So what did you make of his performance? Did you like it?
I did. And I think he was my man of the match yesterday's game. The thing is, in the press, he was relentless every single time. And he won the ball back a lot of times. He shifted it out to Ahmad. I think the only point that held us back at moments was that Ahmad and Mbeumo are not completely in sync yet, because there were a lot of occasions where Mount won the ball, he switches it out to Ahmad. Ahmad bombs on in the narrow channel. Mbeumo is supposed to go out wide in that moment. But even when he did go out wide, Ahmad moved the ball centrally rather than actually shifting it out wide, cleaning space, cross in. That's how it's going to work. I think once that partnership starts to work, because you can see that partnership with Cunha and Dorgu working quite well. Both know he goes in, I go out, he moves in, I go in. So that combination on the left is working quite well. It needs to happen on the right as well. And I think when you look at dynamism and when you look at more threat, Mbeumo and Ahmad bring more threat to you from that side, because both of them are quite tricky to handle and both of them are quite physical.
Yeah. I think they're both still learning, aren't they? It's going to take time to get those patterns and learn. You think about all the dominant right-hand sides or left-hand sides of the game, like Liverpool when they had Trent, even if it was Trent, Jordan Henderson, Mo Salah on that right-hand side, the triangles that they would work, just that connection. Or you can go with Ødegaard, Saka, Ben White. Like, you need a lot of games together before you start getting that kind of consistency in your patterns. But I thought even from the set pieces, for example... the way they was working them from the corners, Ahmad and Mbeumo putting crosses into the box, I really, really like that. I thought that worked effectively. Now, no one was on the end of them, but what you get in Benjamin Sesko coming in, we both know how good he is aerially on the ball. I mean, this guy with 57% fucking win percentage in the air, scored 30% of his headers as well, I think, which is just a fucking crazy stat. Like that, I think, will benefit Mbeumo. He'll get so many assists from that. If there's one thing I'm going to say this season, Sesko will score a lot of headers from crosses from Brian Mbeumo. Them two are just, him and Ahmad, if they get that right on the pitch, the fluidity is going to be dangerous as fuck. But I thought Ahmad pre-season in general, I don't know. Do you know what I'm saying? Like
he's not been bad. He's
not been great.
He's been all right.
Yeah. And I don't know what the reasons are for that. It just doesn't...
I think the first two games he was rusty, and you could see it, that the first two games he was rusty. Third game, he came a bit more into his own. But I think fourth game in, I think he worked the best when he was playing with Bruno on that right-hand channel. That against Bournemouth, that was his best game in pre-season. I think he needs to learn how to play alongside someone like an Mbeumo. I think it'll take time, like you mentioned, but the moment, you put someone like Mount in there or Bruno in there, he's played with these guys for quite some time now. So it's just combinations and relationships starting to just happen. It's going to take time, but I'm still quite optimistic.
Think about the Arsenal game, Shreyas. You think about the tough start that we've got, almost saying that we need time to bed in and get those rhythms and patterns. It's almost like we haven't got time, have we, at the start of the season?
Haven't, but
you can fall behind really quickly.
It's good that you've got 7 days before that game, is what I'll say, because more training sessions, more time on the field. But honestly, if it was up to me, I would shift Mbeumo out on the right-hand side as a wing back and play with Mount in there in the 10 to start that game. Because I think, honestly, Mbeumo can hold that width quite well. And you've got a good option in Ahmad. That's the thing. When you look at the attack, you've got quality options. That if it isn't working, you can bring Ahmad on against tired legs. Or if it's not working, you can actually, shift Mbeumo into the 9 and bring on Ahmad on as well. Because I know Sesko is not going to be starting that game anyways.
Yeah, Yeah, agreed. There's loads in the chat. We're over 1,000 views live. 81 viewers at the minute. Please do, if you have the time, leave a like in the video for us and subscribe. Really important. Just lets the algorithm know that you're enjoying the content and stuff. And I know there's new people in the chat because we've got God's Time Tope saying, God's Time from Nigeria. I'm hearing you clear from Nigeria. Well, you love to know we have a fellow Nigerian on the channel named Chivi, who he hasn't been on for a bit, to be fair. We need to get him back on at some point. But we've got the Chivi derby coming up on the weekend against Arsenal, so I'm sure he'll be around speaking about the game there. Charlie's saying there's another United player should look at Angelo Stilo, comparing to Baleba and get surprised. Yep, I think the lads have spoken about him before. We just want Mount to stay fit. If he can, he'll help us out a lot. There's another player United. Oh, sorry, I already read that out. And Mbumo Sesko duo will be terrifying. Completely agree with that. Is there any news on when Xerxes is back? I think someone's just put in the chat he's back for the Arsenal game. How true that is, I'm not sure. I'll double check that in a moment. Just wait until Cunha and Mbumo click. It's going to be good to have two who will run behind defences in Cunha and Sesko, and Bruno's creativity will be on full display. And James is saying, I see what Shreyas is saying, but will Mbumo sit off and create a 4 across the midfield when we don't have the ball?
He will, because I think at Brentford he's played consistently as a wing-back under Thomas Frank. So he knows how to play in that sort of system.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, agreed. My Damn United saying, having now looked deeper than the surface numbers of Sesko and hearing explanations based on how Leipzig have used him, I'm far more confident in him. I can see why Nick is buzzing over him. Yeah, look, with Sesko, it's not like he was playing a system too dissimilar from what United are playing now anyway. I mean, at Leipzig, you would have kind of Xavi Simons tucking in. You'd have Openda on the other side of him, and Sesko would be the main middle guy. And you'd also have David Raum, who would push up as a wing-back. So on paper, anyway, it looked like a 3-4-3 system. So he's played in that role before. So I think it'd be absolutely fine. And listen to Ruben Amorim talk. If no one's seen his interview yesterday, speaking about Sesko and how he'll fit in perfectly and seamlessly, you'll just see. And I suppose we'll have to wait until we'll see if he starts against Arsenal at the weekend, which is going to be very interesting with them having Gyökeres as well. So, yeah, sets it up for a really exciting game. Just back to the game yesterday, just a few things I wanted to go through as well, Shreyas. We could do all the training, improve all the players that we've got. However, defensive concentration on the pitch and lapses and mistakes, they've got to cut it out. They have to cut it out.
That first goal, when it went in, what it made me realize was, as you remember that game we had against Brighton during the start of the season last year, where they scored the second goal and
Dalot pushed out, and
exactly
left that post.
It was the same exact goal. It was honestly the same exact goal. Everyone aggresses on the near post, back post gets left, a player is completely free. He trapped the ball and then he went for the goal, so he had enough time to actually control the ball and go for goal. And that has been a severe issue for United for quite some time, that in these set pieces, in these moments, players just don't know how to mark. And when they do mark, they don't know how to actually look out for the spare guy. And I remember it was like 8 or 9 games in a row we conceded off set pieces last season. So I think that is definitely a troublesome area which we need to look at, because Arsenal, they are probably one of the best in set pieces in the league.
Yeah.
So
100%.
if you're going to leave someone like a Gabriel or Saliba unmarked in the box in that game, it's going to cost you.
Yeah, 100%. I think that in itself, the defensive lapses and concentration, that's going to cost us so many goals this season.
Yeah.
So many. And I can see it already. And that's what worries me. And if you're off by a small margin, I'm talking like 2-3% in the Premier League, you'll get punished. And you rightfully just said that Arsenal are incredible at set pieces. And they'll be looking at that goal that we've conceded, and they'll think, mate, if we just keep pushing it, if we just get Madueke on the wide areas and Saka in the wide areas. Madueke looked good, by the way. I watched the Arsenal game that they've just played, the 3-0, I think they won, where Gyökeres scored.
Yeah.
They're a problem, mate. I'm telling you now, they're going to be a problem. So United best be up for that on the weekend, because that you could run the risk of getting battered there. I'm telling you. So yeah, defensive concentration definitely still a concern. On the other side of the pitch, though, Shreyas, in our box areally, Lenny Yoro, I thought was really, really, really impressive. Like attacking set pieces, even just attacking in general, just pushing up the pitch. Is anything this kid can't do? It's crazy, isn't it?
There were moments where I saw him inside the box when we were building the player.
Yeah, That's what I'm saying.
I don't know where it came from, but I am extremely, extremely happy to see him the way he's playing right now. And this is what we paid for to Lille. This is the type of player he is. And look, I just know if he carries on the same trajectory that he is, Madrid are going to come knocking within 2 to 3 years. That, we need this guy.
So worry that, innit?
Yeah, it's a big worry, but look, I think this kid is something special. He honestly is, and his recovery pace, his aggressiveness, his tackling, and at the same time, his confidence as well on the ball, even when he's being pressured, it is something that I've not seen. And big shout out to Harry Maguire as well in yesterday's game. I think he was quite decent, had a good shot on target. I don't know where it came from, but again, you can see, the kind of impact Maguire also has in this team. He's still quite a solid player as that centerpiece in that back line. So Maguire is going to get ample of minutes this year.
Well, let's talk about positions up for grabs then, going into this Arsenal game. And just based off the whole pre-season, everyone else, please do chime in as well. Who has locked down positions for you in when you're starting a team against Arsenal? Obviously, we'll still do the preview anyway on Thursday. Thursday or Friday, we'll do the preview for the Arsenal game, the first official one of the Premier League, which I'm so excited for. But based off pre-season, let's go through it together. Sure. Who are we starting in which positions? So goalkeeper,
Tom Heaton. It's got to be,
Well, I actually would. I'm not even joking. I think Tom Heaton, if you just base it off pre-season alone, Tom Heaton fills me with more confidence, but it's going to be Onana. It's going to be back for this game, right? Which worries me in itself. Coming back from injury, is the concentration going to be there? Is he going to come out with some daft comment saying "fucking we're a better team"? That I don't know. That worries me. But it's going to be Andre Onana, so let's just push past that as quickly as we can. Lenny Yoro is that right side centre.
Yeah, he has to be.
No question about it.
He has to be. He has to. Undoubtedly, he has to be. He has to be that player for us.
We're agreed on that. Central centre-back, I personally would go for Maguire. I've got my own reasons for that. You would also go for Maguire, okay. That's fine. Everyone else, let us know. Comment section, would you go for that?
I would want Maguire to start, but I wouldn't be opposed to De Ligt starting either, just because of the fact that it's going to be Gyökeres playing in there. Yeah.
I'm thinking set pieces as well, and I'm thinking Maguire's really important. Arsenal will have a lot of set pieces. So, I would personally start Maguire. Left-sided centre-half. Are you going with that?
I would go Luke Shaw.
Okay.
I'd go Luke Shaw or Maz.
Yeah. Aiden Heaven, for me, I think he's a really talented boy, and I think he will be a great centre-back. But there's still bits in his game that I'm like, a little bit like his first touch. Yeah, polished is the perfect word. Yeah, absolutely. And he's not going to be polished, is he, like you said? And it's against Arsenal as well, so...
Look, the last time he came on against Arsenal, he was absolutely amazing. But I think
I can't remember.
Yeah. His debut was against Arsenal. I think it was Lisandro who picked up an injury and he came, something like that.
Oh, really? I can't remember that. Oh,
so he came on and he had a good showing. But the thing is, in this game, I think this first game of the season is very, very important for us. Because if we win this game, it's going to set a tone for us for the next 4 to 5 games. And you've got Chelsea and City in between those games. So this first game, you need to have a good showing. And honestly, I don't know. I think Luke Shaw has lost quite a yard of pace. It's quite evident. But he looks a lot fitter. Like physically, he looks a lot better than he did last year.
That's why he'll never go back to that wing-back position.
He'll never go back. No, not at all.
And one thing I'll say about Luke Shaw, and this could work against him, he knows Bukayo Saka very, very well.
He knows.
Right-hand side. And knows he obviously played against him in training, like for England, millions of times before. So, that could work against him or it could work for him. I would go with Luke Shaw as well, just as a starter game, because you want to get your experienced players in for the first game. You want to have the level heads. There's enough chance that a young kid can get a bit overzealous or whatever and potentially make a mistake. Do you know what I mean? So I would go with Luke Shaw as well. So we've got Onana, Yoro, Maguire, and Shaw. Wing backs, Dorgu. 100% as the left wing back, right?
Yeah.
That's not even a question.
Not a question.
Right wing back, Ahmad, for me, I absolutely adore Ahmad Diallo, but he has been underwhelming for me, slightly. I don't think he's been amazing, but you would still go with him over Diallo.
It's got to be him. The thing is, right now, it's got to be him. You cannot, by any means, you cannot start Diallo in that area.
And then, the midfield.
That's the area. And you know what? I think it might just be Menu and Ugarte. It might just be, because the thing is, the only midfield partnership that has actually worked for us the best throughout this preseason has been Menu and Ugarte. The rest, even if they've worked, they've not worked consistently enough. And with Menu and Ugarte, the thing is, you could put Bruno in there, but I just don't think Bruno has got enough muscle to handle Rice as well as Zubimendi.
Yeah, I think he'll just play around him.
Yeah,
literally, play around him. Yeah, I don't know if he'll start Ugarte. That I'm not sure. Maybe Bruno and Ugarte. I think Bruno's starting deeper. I don't know why, because I think if you're saying okay, it's going to be Ugarte and Menu, that means two of the four, probably Mount, Bruno, Cunha, and then Bumo, not being on the pitch. And I just can't see that happening unless he doesn't start Sesko.
He's not going to start Sesko at all.
You don't think so?
No, not a chance.
I don't know.
The biggest issue, the thing with him, Amorim has never, like, even at Sporting when he signed players, if it was in between this period of, the season is about to start and preseason is over and any player has come in, he's never started them in the first 2 to 3 games.
Interesting. I don't know. I have a feeling he's going to start. It's not based off anything. It's just a gut
I think he could go Mount false 9 again, just because it's worked well.
Yeah. So in midfield, you go Ugarte, Menu. I'd go Bruno, Ugarte.
The thing is, you just don't know. He could just as well start with Cass in that game as well.
Yeah. I'll just go Bruno and Ugarte. Although I don't think it's a great partnership, but I think they'll go with that. And then the front three, I personally would go Mbumo. This is tough.
You cannot leave Kone out. Like, you just cannot.
No, I really don't want to leave Mount out because I think Mount's been really good.
I think it's going to be the same front three.
Yeah, you might be right. But I just want Sesko in there because I really want to watch Sesko on the weekend.
He'll get minutes.
I'm gonna do Cunha, Sesko, and then Mbumo. That's what I want to see. Just because an out-and-out striker, as good as Mount was, I want a 9 who can put the ball into the box.
Would you be open? Do you think it might be a case where he goes Cunha, Sesko, and Mount and leave Mbumo out?
No, I can't do that. You cannot leave a man out who you paid 70 million quid for and has had 27 goal involvements.
But then you've got to leave Mason Mount out.
Yeah.
And I don't know. The thing is, off the ball, he's just so important.
I agree. And that's why that is a fucking headache for Ruben Amorim in the attacking now. But that's what you give yourself when you sign 2-number proven gems from the Premier League. You know what I mean? That's what happens. Like, you give yourself the headache. But it's not a bad thing. You need competition for places. I just wish we had competition in fucking midfield. That'd be a little bit better. Rather
if we had the same competition for places in the midfield.
Absolutely. Right, for the last 10 minutes, 5-10 minutes, whatever you want to call it, we're going to do a bit of a Q&A. So anyone's got any questions, any topics that they want to discuss, please do feel free to go for it. I'll just go through now and have a look. Let's see if we've got any questions. Can I see any? Oh, Q&A. Unless you've already covered it before I arrived, how did the golf day go, Nick? Have you ever played golf?
Yeah, once or twice.
Mate, it's fucking hard. It is so hard, honestly. So the driving range, obviously, if anyone's been there before, it's basically just smacking it out to see how far you can get it effectively. But then when you start bringing out the irons and the putters and the hybrids and all that kind of stuff, and then not even to count into the fact that when you're at the driving range, you are on the flattest surface that you could eat your dinner off it. It's that flat and there's no grass. It's just you're hitting off such a... When you go on a golf course, if you slightly slice the ball a little bit, you're going into like grass that's like that thick. Trying to hit a ball on a hill in grass that thick is fucking impossible. It's honestly it's hard. So it's a humbling sport.
If you got wind blowing at that time, you're absolutely screwed.
And it was windy yesterday, really windy. I thought, I don't know which way to fucking hit this because I'm on a slant like that. The wind's coming from this way, but the ball's over that way, the hole's over that way. So I was like, I genuinely don't know what to do. But what was really weird was, that was my first time on the course, right? The first 4 or 5 holes, played a blinder. Probably the best golf I've ever played in my life. Was the drives from the start with the hybrids, everything was just seamless. And then after the 5th and 6th, it all went downhill. And that's why I'm saying it's humbling, because you could be really good you start miss hitting a few balls, and then your confidence just fucking gets destroyed, and your points start going like that. So it is a tough. Anyone who's getting into it, it's expensive and it's a tough sport. God, we've spent a lot of money fucking getting golf balls and gloves and right clothing etiquette for it and all that kind of stuff. Fucking nightmare. Do you have nice let's say Indian courses then? Golf courses in India. Like I can imagine there's some.
There's a
ones.
lot. Like honestly, there are a lot of golf courses here.
Yeah, I can imagine. We do need a centre back in the winter. Isn't golf big in Sri Lanka? Is that right?
I'm not quite sure.
I'm sure. Oh no, I'm thinking cricket. Cricket's big in Sri Lanka, right? Right. Yeah.
If you look at the Southeast Asian belt of 4 to 5 countries, it's basically cricket.
Yeah. I'm with you. Sorry, I got sports mixed up there. Heaven for me over Shaw. Let the boy stick it to his former club again. Adds to the Sesko versus Gyökeres narrative. Tenor on a Sesko winner. Gotta be done. But you know what, Shreyas? Equally, if Gyökeres gets a winner, it'd be as painful, won't it?
It is equally likely. That's the reason. I just don't think this time it's going to end in a draw.
Yeah.
I think this time it's either us or them.
Yeah. Sorry, just going past the comments. Yeah, we need to take advantage of these games for international weeks as we play City and Chelsea back-to-back after that. Sesko has to start. He's not inexperienced. Excuse me. Ugarte worries me if he starts.
Yeah.
Debasis says, I hate bunkers, messes up my shots. Bunkers as well. Oh my God, I've not even got onto that. Hitting it out of on the 18th hole, the last one where I was knackered. I did 20,000 steps on the course yesterday. I didn't realise how much uphill walking and down, like, crazy. In a bunker, I shit you not, that's like that. So the things at the top, the bunker was like that, and the hole was like proper like deep. And I'm looking up and thinking, how the fuck am I? It took me 3 or 4 shots trying to get it out of it. It's hard, very, very hard. Nick turned into Rasmus on the 7th hole, mate. I actually did. I swear to God. I started off like Ronaldo and finished off like Rasmus Højlund. Crazy. So, yeah, humbling experience, but enjoyed it. I think golf, it's just, I don't know, it seems like a mental break. When we do this channel quite a lot, and because I work in social media and I work at Fives with all the media and stuff, to get away, go on a course, just walk about and drift off and not having to think about, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's quite nice, like quite a nice mental break. So, if there's any silver lining, I suppose it's that. Look, we've come to the end of the show. Been a very, very busy Sunday social, but really, really enjoyed it. There's been loads of views in the chat. Sub count right now is 23,029, which is really exciting because we're getting close under the 2,000 mark now until we hit 25,000 subscribers, which is absolutely crazy. So yeah, really appreciate everyone. We appreciate the new viewers who have joined us today as well. Welcome to the community. If you want to become a member for the odd bits of exclusive content for when we drop merch, which will be soon, to get priority on that and little bits, your own kind of emojis and stuff, and just be a part of the channel anyway, click the join button next to the notification bell. Turn on that notification bell as well because it's a transfer window. And as you know, with Manchester United, the news drops at really random kind of sporadic time. So subscribe to the channel, turn the notification bell, drop us follow on socials, bottom right hand corner of the screen. And now I will leave you guys alone to enjoy the rest of your weekend. Cheers, Shreyas, for coming on. I'm sure we'll speak shortly. See you in a bit.